A week before the engagement, Brady canceled the engagement party and pushed it back by a month. He said, "Rebecca's having her first solo concert that day, and it's really important to her. I can't miss it. We're going to get engaged no matter what. Whether it's a week earlier or later, what's the difference?" This was the third time he canceled the engagement for Rebecca. The first time was when Rebecca said she was sick abroad, feeling scared and wanting him by her side. The second time, Rebecca said she was going on an impromptu trip, and Brady, worried, followed her. And now, this was the third time. I hung up the phone and looked at Elmer, the heir of a wealthy family who grew up with me. "Do you want a fiancé?" On the day of the engagement, Brady was hugging Rebecca at the celebration banquet for her concert. Watching the live stream of Elmer and me at our engagement ceremony, his eyes reddened. Elmer looked at me. "Are you sure? Can you really let go of Brady?" I shrugged. I gave him a chance. This is the third time he's canceled his engagement for the same woman. I think this is fate. We were never meant to be together. Passion can never overcome cold indifference, can it? Elmer smiled. "Since you've made up your mind, I want a grand engagement ceremony. After all, my family has a lot of people to invite, and I want everyone to know who I'm marrying." I looked at him, as if trying to read his heart, and all I saw was a resolute determination. I suddenly found courage. "Okay." I went back home and began packing my things. When Brady returned, he saw my suitcase and sneered, "Running away from home again? Sylvia, we've been together for 4 years. Every time we fight, you run away. Aren't you tired of this? Just because I postponed the engagement party? Are you seriously making such a big deal out of it? Postponing a week doesn't mean I won't marry you." His impatient tone sounded like he was about to slam the door and leave. I said calmly, "I'm not running away. Just packing my things." I added silently in my mind, "I'm leaving you for good." Brady tore off his tie and casually gave me instructions. "Since you're packing, why not tidy up the guest room? Rebecca's coming back and said the place near her concert venue is convenient. She's going to stay here for a while." I pushed the suitcase into the corner without looking up. "Okay, I'll have the maid clean a room tomorrow." My obedient compliance made Brady pause for a moment. His tone softened. "All right, I know I've made things hard for you. Tomorrow, you can pick out a set of jewelry at the jewelry store. I'll buy it for you. I've been busy these days, and with Rebecca back, her house has been empty for a while. I need to help her clean and set it up. You focus on the engagement for now. After Rebecca's concert, I'll spend more time with you. How about that?" My heart felt heavy, like a stone pressing down on it. I said, "No need to accompany me. I have a lot to do. I'm just cleaning up some of my things here." He didn't ask why I needed to clean things that had just been unpacked. Instead, he looked at me approvingly. "Last time, Rebecca said she didn't like you using the sunroom as a studio. She wants to use it for practicing the piano. I see you finally decided to move your junk out?" I let out a breath. "Yes, I've decided. The sunroom will be hers tomorrow." I silently added in my heart, "And you, too, will belong to her." When Rebecca came back the next day, I hadn't gotten out of bed yet. By the time Brady and the famous cellist Rebecca were hugging at the airport, their photo was already trending. The trending topics flooded the screen with comments like, "A love story since childhood. A perfect match. They make us believe in love." I was looking at it when my phone rang. It was Elmer. His voice was gentle and steady. "Do you want me to handle those trending topics?" I smiled. "No need. It doesn't matter to me anymore. There's no reason to spend our money on something that has nothing to do with us." He laughed. "Right, no need to waste money. Let's go try on the engagement dresses today. The one I had airlifted yesterday just arrived." We only decided to get engaged yesterday, but the dress had already been airlifted this morning. I was speechless, but also a little moved. Since Brady and I decided to get engaged, everything was on me to organize. He would only complain a little, never considering whether I was tired. But now, Elmer was showing me what a proper fiancé should be like. The dress Elmer had airlifted from overseas was exactly my size. The designer who came with it smiled and said, "Mr. Elmer insisted I come with it." He said if it didn't fit, we'd have to alter it on site. I was under a lot of pressure, but now I see why Mr. Elmer was so anxious. He really loves you. He also said he wanted me to design the wedding dress. I need to take your measurements and show you some designs to see which one you like. I blushed, and Elmer smiled mysteriously. After trying on dresses and jewelry all day, I was exhausted by the time I got home. Just as I sat down, my phone rang. It was Brady. Where are you? Why aren't you here yet? Do you want everyone to wait for you? I was confused. Where am I supposed to go? Brady sneered on the other end. Are you pretending to be deaf now? I sent you a message. Today, Rebecca came back, and I'm throwing her a welcome home party. She said she wanted you to join us. Get here, I've sent you the location. I checked my phone. Sure enough, there was a message from Brady from earlier in the afternoon, but I hadn't seen it. Brady had sent a location pin and a voice message from Rebecca. Sylvia, we haven't seen each other in years. Come out and have fun. You're not upset about my relationship with Brady, are you? Brady grabbed the phone and sent a voice message. If you don't come, I'm not giving you the painting I promised. I hesitated. Brady had once bought a painting at an auction that I had always wanted. He said he would give it to me, but never did. Now he was using it as a bargaining chip. I stood up. Fine, I'll go. After all, it'll only be a few more days of this discomfort, and then it will be over. When I arrived at the restaurant, they had already started drinking. Rebecca and Brady were seated at the main table, looking like a perfect couple. When they saw me walk in, Rebecca pretended to stand up. Come, sit here. She moved over to another seat. Brady grabbed her arm. She can sit anywhere. You sit here. You're the guest of honor today. Rebecca looked at me apologetically. Sorry, Sylvia, Brady's had a bit to drink. He's a little tipsy. I casually picked a seat and sat down. It's fine. Any seat is fine. He's right. You're the guest of honor today. Brady's friends started teasing from the side. Earlier, Brady said he went to pick her up from the airport, and wow, you two really are a perfect match. I was stunned by those trending photos. You two really should be together. It's such a shame you were apart before. Now that Rebecca's back, she can start fresh, right? Brady glanced at me and said indifferently, Stop talking nonsense, Rebecca is going to be a violinist. He didn't clarify whether they were compatible or not. We were still engaged, but all he said was that Rebecca was going to be a violinist. How was I so blind before, walking around with my eyes closed, loving a man whose heart was always with Rebecca? Rebecca bit her lip and looked at me. Don't listen to them, they're just joking. They're used to it. Don't take it seriously. By the way, here's a gift for you. See if you like it. She handed me a jewelry box. I opened it to find a pair of earrings that looked somewhat familiar. I looked up at Rebecca, and saw that she was wearing a sea blue sapphire necklace around her neck. I froze for a moment. This sea blue sapphire necklace had been custom made by Brady, based on my preferences. It had been in the making for 6 months, and was supposed to be a gift for me at our engagement ceremony, as a token of his sincerity in marrying me. When it was being made, the designer had said there would be some leftover stones, so it would be made into earrings as a gift. Now, the necklace that was meant for me was around Rebecca's neck, and the gift was in my hands. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Brady's friends looked at me disdainfully and whispered mockingly, a mere gift, and she thinks it's a treasure. A few girls in the group gasped, Rebecca, your necklace is so beautiful. Rebecca gently touched her necklace and looked at Brady. This is a gift from Brady. He said he'll give me an even more beautiful one at the concert after party. I sighed. Wow, Brady really spares no expense. This necklace was made using a family heirloom gemstone, custom cut, and took 6 months to create. It's supposed to be passed down to the next daughter-in-law. Brady really has feelings for you. Brady's face turned slightly awkward, and those who were paying attention could tell something wasn't right. The room suddenly fell silent. The heirloom was supposed to be given to his future wife, but Brady had given it to Rebecca right in front of me, his fiancée. The implication was clear. Rebecca stood there awkwardly, still touching the necklace, her eyes reddening. She lowered her head and tried to take off the necklace. Sorry, I didn't know it was meant for Sylvia. I wasn't supposed to wear it. I'm so careless. Before she could finish, tears began to fall. Her hands trembled as she struggled to take it off, but the necklace got tangled in her hair. She yanked her hair out, her voice choked as she said, "Can you help me take it off?" Brady's heart ached. He grabbed her hand. "I said it's for you, it's yours. Don't worry about what anyone else says." Then he turned and glared at me. "It's just a blue sapphire. I can't believe you're so shallow, making a big deal over a stone. How could you say something like that for a piece of jewelry? This sapphire was always meant for me. I can give it to anyone I want. You're not even officially engaged to me yet, so don't think you're the owner of this necklace. I think it looks better on Rebecca. It's hers now. I've already promised to marry you, but whether I give you this necklace or not, what's the difference? You already have the title of my fiancé, what else are you unhappy about?" Rebecca laughed through her tears. "Really? The gown I'll be wearing at the concert is blue. This will match perfectly." "Thank you, Brady. All these years, only you know what I like." I stood up. "Sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. I was just commenting on how much you care for Rebecca. Don't take it so personally." I pushed the jewelry box toward her. "These earrings are made from leftover scraps, but they're still an heirloom set. You can have them." Rebecca bit her lip. Although Brady said the necklace is for me, I know it's actually your engagement gift. Don't worry, I'll return it after my concert, okay?" One of Brady's friends chimed in. "Come on, that's enough. It's just a necklace, why make a big deal out of it? You've made the atmosphere so awkward. Are you happy now that everyone else is uncomfortable?" "Yeah, and the rich princess act? Is your family going bankrupt or something? You're really going to keep begging for someone else's heirloom? Embarrassing." This was one of Brady's close friends, and also Rebecca's sycophant. Every time I was with Brady, they'd throw cold insults, implying that I wasn't good enough for him. Rebecca sweetly said, "Please don't be so harsh on Sylvia. She might not understand Brady, but I'm sure if we spend more time together, she won't misunderstand." Brady looked at me coldly. "If you're not happy, just leave. Why come here and ruin the mood?" I stood up. "Then I'll leave now." Before exiting the room, I added, "By the way, I've tidied up the guest room, but I was thinking, wouldn't it be too small for Rebecca? Maybe she'd be more comfortable in the master bedroom." Brady furrowed his brows. "What guest room? That's not our home, is it? As my fiancé, you need to stop throwing tantrums whenever you're upset. If you keep acting like this, my family won't like you." I laughed. "Marry you? The engagement ceremony has been called off. As for the wedding, let's talk about it later." Brady's expression darkened. He grabbed my arm. "What's this nonsense? The engagement ceremony is cancelled? Just because of a necklace? Didn't I say we're just postponing it?" While we were in a standoff, my phone rang. I picked it up. It was Elmer. "The designer wants to know if you prefer a pearl or diamond crown for your wedding dress." I thought about the pearl buttons on the wedding gown. "Pearl, please." Brady sneered. "Wedding crown? Come on, show some decency. You're ordering a custom wedding gown to pressure me into marriage?" Rebecca covered her mouth, her expression dim. "Brady, are you getting married?" Brady glared at me with disgust. "I want you to understand one thing. I only agreed to get engaged to you. I didn't agree to marry you. Don't think you can pressure me with tricks like this. You want to wear a wedding gown to the engagement party to force me into marriage?" I struggled to pull away from him. "Let go, Brady. That's my wedding gown, what does it have to do with you?" Brady scoffed. "Your wedding gown? Who else would you be marrying if not me? Enough. All these years, your little tricks to pressure me into marriage are getting old. I'll tell you this straight, I agreed to the engagement for the sake of both families. Don't push your luck." Just then, the door to the room was pushed open. "Let her go." Everyone looked toward the door. It was Elmer. He was holding a phone, striding over to us. He grabbed Brady's hand and pulled my arm out of his grip, gently asking, "Are you okay?" I shook my head. His tall frame surrounded me like a shield, and in his protective embrace, I felt completely safe. He lightly draped his arm over my shoulder. "Mr. Brady, why are you holding my fiancée and talking nonsense? As for our wedding, what kind of gown or crown she wears, it's entirely up to her. If she's happy with it, that's all that matters. You're just an ex, don't you think it's a bit much to be so involved? Aren't you worried your current lover might get jealous?" Rebecca's eyes were filled with unshed tears. Brady's face turned pale. "What do you mean, your fiancé? Explain yourself." He tried to grab me, but Elmer blocked him easily. Elmer was from a completely different circle. He was always above everyone else. Even at regular social events, the people at this table, his elders, would lower their heads to please him. He darkened his expression, and no one dared to make a sound. Brady insisted I clarify, "I didn't expect you to be so capable, getting Elmer to come and play along in this little act." "Fine, I promise the engagement ceremony won't be postponed again next week. Happy now?" I couldn't even be bothered to glance at him. Elmer wrapped his arm around me and led me straight out of the private room. On the way back to my house, Elmer smiled, "Thank you. How did you know I was there?" He chuckled. "The call never ended. I overheard your argument. Brady's hosting a welcome dinner for his first love today, it's the talk of the town." Brady had been calling me nonstop, but I didn't answer. Then he texted, "What's the meaning of this? Did you come here today to make things awkward between Rebecca and me? Rebecca and I aren't what you think we are. Don't twist things. Rebecca says she made you misunderstand. You should go home tomorrow and explain it to her. This has nothing to do with her. Aren't you going home? Rebecca's demanding to stay in a hotel so we don't fight. You should come back soon." I suppressed the bitterness rising in my chest and turned off my phone. I closed my eyes. It was really time to say goodbye. I spent the night at my own place, and the next day I went to the apartment Brady and I had prepared to pick up my things. My things were already packed up, and the studio supplies had been moved to my workspace yesterday. There was only one box of belongings left to take. When I opened the door, I heard a soft exclamation, "The eggs you fried are amazing. I've been craving your cooking since I was abroad." Brady's voice was indulgent, "You can stay here, and I'll cook for you every day." Rebecca's tone became subdued, "But you're getting married. Sylvia probably wouldn't want us to get too close. Maybe we should just leave it." Brady gently pulled her into his arms. "You've always known how I feel, right? Marrying her was just my parents' wish. The person I've always wanted to marry isn't her, you know that." I made a loud noise dropping my keys, which startled the couple. They looked over. Brady quickly pulled his hand away from Rebecca. Rebecca was wearing a sexy red low-cut nightgown. It was mine, the one I had planned to wear on our wedding night. But she had not only spent the night there, she seemed to have taken over everything in the apartment. When she noticed me looking at her, she lowered her head shyly and smiled. "I didn't bring my suitcase, so Brady told me to wear your clothes. He said this one was new and asked me to wear it first. Hope you don't mind." I gave a faint smile. "No problem." Then I turned to head upstairs to grab my box, but as I passed the master bedroom, I saw the mess, stockings and lingerie strewn all over the floor. It was clear to anyone what had happened there. Brady followed me in, trying to close the door behind him. "Don't overthink it. We didn't go all the way." I gagged slightly and covered my mouth. "Move out of the way." I pushed my suitcase down the stairs. Rebecca timidly asked, "Are you moving out?" At the door, Elmer's driver was waiting. "Do you need help, miss?" I shook my head and prepared to get in the car. Brady grabbed my arm. "What's this supposed to mean? You didn't come back all night, and now you're taking your stuff and leaving? Sylvia, don't make this any harder than it already is. I won't be able to help you when the time comes. If you think you can leave and I'll beg you to come back, you're dreaming." I smiled and finally looked him in the eye. "I'm tired. I don't want to wait for you anymore." I said this and got in the car. He sneered outside the window. "Fine. Take a few days to calm down and think about where you went wrong." Elmer was the only son, so his engagement couldn't be a small affair. Even though the planning time was short, his family had immense wealth, and everything was prepared in no time. My parents had always been insistent on me marrying Brady, but after he postponed our engagement twice for Rebecca, they'd grown increasingly displeased with him. Since I still liked him, they didn't say much. Now, seeing me suddenly announce my engagement to Elmer, they were shocked. My mom, surprised yet concerned, asked, "How did you suddenly get engaged to Elmer? Didn't you used to dislike him?" I blushed and replied, "I was young then. He used to bully me, but now we've both grown up. Let's not talk about the past." Both families were smiling widely. Elmer's mother quickly went to the safe to pick out jewelry for me, making sure the gems were large and sparkly enough. The day Elmer and I got engaged was also Rebecca's solo concert. Her concert was a success, and our engagement party was grand and romantic. Brady had booked the largest private room at the hotel for Rebecca, invited a bunch of friends to celebrate, but very few people actually showed up. Brady's face darkened. "Why isn't anyone coming? Why won't they answer their phones?" One friend looked at him. "Elmer and Sylvia are getting engaged. Who wouldn't want to go? They probably can't make it now." Brady's face turned pale, and he grabbed his friend's arm. "What did you say? Elmer is getting engaged to who?" The friend stammered. "To Sylvia, and there's a live stream, didn't you know?" The phone in the private room turned on, and it was the peak of our engagement ceremony. Elmer opened the ring box, looked at me with tenderness and certainty, and said, "Thank you for choosing me. I swear I'll love you and protect you for the rest of my life." The ring slowly slid onto my finger. I was still in a daze when his lips met mine. Brady threw a bottle of wine at the TV. "Impossible. This is fake. Sylvia would never leave me to marry another man." His friend's girlfriend scoffed at him. "How could she not leave you? Didn't you break your promises 3 times? You canceled the engagement 3 times. No matter how hot the heart, it turns cold after a while." Brady shouted through red eyes, "Impossible. I promised her we'd get engaged. I just delayed it by a week, I never said we were breaking up." The girl rolled her eyes. "You know what you were really thinking. You canceled the engagement multiple times for another woman. Sylvia broke up with you a long time ago, and now she's going to marry Elmer. He's richer, handsomer, and more loyal than you." Brady ran out of the room, with Rebecca chasing him. "Where are you going?" When Brady arrived at the hotel where we were celebrating, I was toasting guests with Elmer. He barged in and grabbed my hand. "You're coming with me. We're canceling this engagement with Elmer." Elmer grabbed him. "Today is my and Sylvia's engagement ceremony. Who do you think you are, crashing it?" Brady's parents rushed in to block him. "What do you think you're doing? You're going crazy in public now?" Rebecca explained, Brady always intended to marry Sylvia, but something came up and he had to cancel. Who would have thought Sylvia would suddenly get engaged to another man without a word? "Sylvia, have you thought about Brady's feelings? You were together for so many years, how could you do this?" I laughed bitterly, glaring at her. "Do you not know why Brady canceled our engagement 3 times? You come in here acting innocent, questioning me? What right do you have? The first time, you said you were sick abroad. He dropped everything to go see you. The second time, on the day of our engagement, you said you wanted to go on a solo trip to clear your mind. It was obvious you were upset about the engagement, and Brady followed you. The third time, you scheduled your solo concert on the same day as Brady and I's engagement. Your intentions are clear, the whole world knows them now. And now you ask me why? Why don't you ask yourself? If you didn't love him, didn't want to marry him, why keep dragging a man along as your backup, ready to be your loyal lapdog at any time?" Rebecca's face turned pale. She took a step back, tears welling up in her eyes as she covered her mouth. I didn't mean it. I swear, I never intended to ruin your relationship with Brady." Brady's eyes were burning with rage as he looked at me, disbelief written all over his face. "You told me you loved me. Why would you suddenly get engaged to Elmer?" I smiled. "I did love you, but that was in the past. Now, I'm tired. I don't love you anymore. Isn't that normal? I've moved on and fallen for someone else. Besides, you've always loved someone else. Isn't it better if we just go our separate ways and never see each other again?" Brady was furious. "I didn't agree to break up. Elmer stepped in front of me. She's just informing you, not asking for your approval. Do you want to air out all your dirty laundry in front of everyone? Then, he looked at me. Let's go. Brady reached out to grab me from behind. I won't let you be with another man. Elmer punched him squarely in the face. Mr. Brady, I only tolerated you for your parents' sake, but now I'm punching you because you're being utterly ungrateful. Brady's father looked apologetic. I'm so sorry, I'll take him away right now. He grabbed Brady by the arm. Have you had enough of your tantrums? You're acting like a spoiled child, and now you want to make a fool of me too? Rebecca stepped forward to help Brady up. It's not Brady's fault. It's Sylvia. She's gone too far. I turned and looked at her, taking a step forward. No matter how far I've gone, it's still less disgusting than you, a single woman, knowing that Brady is about to get engaged, but still going home with him, wearing a bride's nightgown in the master bedroom of his new house and sleeping with him. Is this how you were raised? A well-bred young lady? A famous violinist? Do your audience know you're the other woman in private? My words slapped her across the face like a loud punch. She took a step back, and the guests around us began to murmur. I just can't stand how she always plays the victim. Shameless. She keeps clinging to Brady and never says she loves him. Exactly. How could she be so shameless and even go to someone else's new home to have an affair? Brady stepped in front of her. This has nothing to do with Rebecca. It's all my fault. I took a step forward and slapped him hard across the face. Of course, it's your fault. If not for your actions, none of this would have happened. You can't expect a fly to land on an egg without cracks. You two really are a disgusting pair. Rebecca started crying, looking pitiful. I'm sorry, I'll leave now. I won't get in your way anymore. I gave her a disgusted glance. Go ahead, stay wherever you want. Besides Brady, that brainless lapdog, do you really think anyone else cares about you? Your family is nothing but a bunch of fallen nobodies. You use your title as a violinist to climb your way into a rich family, so hurry up and get it while you can. Otherwise, if the news of you and Brady having an affair leaks, you won't be able to marry into a rich family anymore. Rebecca covered her face and ran out, and Brady tried to follow her, but Elmer's bodyguard stopped him. After Elmer and I got engaged, he began decorating our new home, consulting me on every detail, making sure it suited my preferences. My best friend took me out for a shopping spree to cheer me up, laughing as she said, "Do you know how embarrassed Rebecca is right now? She went home, and word of what happened on the day of your engagement spread to her family. Her stepmother was so ashamed of her that she wouldn't even let her through the front door. She went to beg Brady, but who knew that Brady's mother was furious because Rebecca had ruined their chance to join forces with your family. When she saw Rebecca, she wouldn't even open the door, telling her to leave immediately. Now she's living in Brady's new house, crying to her friends every day, claiming she's innocent. Who's going to believe that? And Brady? He started playing the role of the regretful cheater, showing up at my door every day with flowers and gifts. It was all so tiresome. He even ordered a wedding dress and had it delivered to my house with great fanfare. He texted me, "You'll always be my most beautiful bride. As long as you're willing, I'll never see Rebecca again. Will you marry me, my wife?" Elmer looked at the text, grinding his teeth, pacing around the house. I'm going to kill him. My wife? He's lost his mind. I laughed and stopped him. Why bother with those rats in the gutter? Elmer was so annoyed by Brady's antics that he insisted I move into the newly renovated house right away. We'll be living here eventually anyway. Just stay here and see how it feels. If it's uncomfortable, we can always make changes. Elmer also invited some friends over for a party at the villa. None of us expected that Rebecca would show up. She was quieter now, but kept trying to find a way to talk to me. My best friend stepped in. What do you want? Sylvia doesn't want to make a scene, so she hasn't thrown you out, but don't take it too far. Rebecca couldn't get close to me and shouted, You're getting married to Elmer, but why are you still clinging to Brady? Are you not afraid Elmer will get angry and leave you for it? Elmer was putting on a custom-made necklace for me and shot her a look. Is she out of her mind? Rebecca pushed past my friend and rushed over. Elmer, don't be fooled by her. She's acting like the victim, but she's been secretly wanting to get back with Brady. Elmer finished putting the necklace on me and smiled with satisfaction. It's beautiful. He turned to look at Rebecca. As for you and Brady, I don't care. I'm not some fool like Brady, easily swayed by a few words. Rebecca glared at me, tears in her eyes, filled with resentment. Are you proud of yourself now? You won, didn't you? Now Brady won't even see me, and you're probably thrilled. I smiled happily. His relentless pursuit is his problem. But let's be real, who else would want him, besides you? If you want him, go ahead and take him. As she was making a scene, Brady burst in. The servants tried to stop him, but he was frantic, looking straight at me. Don't listen to her. I never had anything with her. The baby in her belly isn't mine. His words left everyone stunned. No one had expected Rebecca was pregnant. Rebecca lunged at him, grabbing him. What are you saying? The child is yours. Why won't you acknowledge him? Do you want him to be born without a father? Brady hastily tried to explain to me. Sylvia, I'm serious about you. I've already booked the wedding venue, ordered the wedding dress. All you need to do is be a happy bride. And that sapphire necklace? I brought it back for you. It'll always be yours. I frowned at him. I'm getting married soon, and I hope you don't interfere with my life anymore. I'm happy with Elmer. If you booked the venue and dress, that's your wedding, not mine. As for the sapphire necklace, do you really think I'd want a necklace someone else has worn? Elmer already gave me the most beautiful necklace in the world. The necklace I wore was custom made by Elmer. It was special, one of a kind, and unlike any other in the world. We're getting married next month. I won't invite you, and I don't want you there. From now on, I never want to see you again. Lost things never wait for you, Brady. Brady was unceremoniously kicked out with no expression, and the next day, the news of Rebecca's pregnancy spread like wildfire. Rebecca's family stormed Brady's house, demanding that he take responsibility. Brady's parents, however, denied it, saying, "How do we know it's Brady's child? If you want us to acknowledge it, fine. First, do a paternity test. If it's Brady's, then they can get married. If not, stop making trouble." As it turned out, the test confirmed that the child was Brady's, and they had no choice but to admit it. There were no gifts, no wedding ceremony, and no announcement to family and friends. Brady and Rebecca simply went to the registry office and got their marriage certificate. That day, Elmer and I also went to get our marriage certificate. I was wearing a small white dress, and Elmer even put on a little half veil for me. It was sweet and warm. Elmer said, "My bride has to be the happiest and most beautiful woman in the world." Through the veil, I saw that Brady's eyes were red, and I could sense Rebecca's bitterness. But none of that mattered to me anymore. Our official wedding was grand. Everyone who had anything to do with our families attended, along with business friends. It was extravagant. As my best friend and I sat in the lounge getting our makeup done, we overheard a conversation passing by. Did you hear? Brady and Rebecca are getting divorced. Apparently, Rebecca hooked up with the conductor of an orchestra for a chance at a performance, and the conductor's wife caught them in the act, beat her up, and she lost the baby. When Brady found out, he didn't even show up. He just sent his lawyer to deal with the divorce. Well, she got what she deserved. The conversation faded as they walked away. My best friend and I exchanged a knowing smile. A relative came in, saying, "Hurry, it's time. The bride needs to walk in. Today's a good day for a wedding, and I wish you happiness forever." I grabbed my bouquet, lowered my veil, and the doors to the wedding venue opened. In front of me lay my happiness. End.